This is an 8-iron, and it's a dead shank.
Wow.
Way right.
Oh, takes a hop
shank.
off the path.
You got to be kidding me. Very tough pitch shot right here. You got to hit it into the hill. One hop up and bite, and it's in.
Kind of like that.
Well, I would like to welcome a man who truly does not need an introduction to the Sub 70 podcast. He is the golf professional that everyone should know, or I'm rephrasing. They should know who he is, but they don't, because he knows everybody in the golf business. The great, the American treasure, Mike Dominick. Welcome back to the Sub 70 podcast.
I'm here. I'm so happy to be here. I always look forward to these things. You have no idea.
Well, you had some real inside. Let's just do inside information. U.S. Open. You were out there with Wyndham Clark, one of the best players in the world. You're out in San Diego. Mm-hmm. You're living the life. The weather's perfect. It's U.S. Open week. We'll dig down a little bit, and then we'll get to the Dismal River trip. But give me from 5,000 feet, from talking to Wyndham, course setup, vibe. What were you seeing out there at Torrey Pines?
Well, the vibe was great. I mean, it was really a last second ad because we all got back from Dismal on Sunday night. His brother calls me Monday morning and says, "Hey, Wyndham's got an extra ticket. Do you want to go to the Open? By the way, you got to get 9 COVID tests." And I said, "Well, yeah, sure, why not?" So we ended up getting all that done. We drive out there, and I'm calling everyone in my phone I know who lives in San Diego. And, oh, yeah, you can stay here. You can do that. Well, let me check. Let me do this. So everything's just completely up in the air. I mean, we're on like the 310 to Yuma. So halfway through, Wyndham texts me and he goes, "Hey, buddy, I got a bed for you." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm so excited. I don't know where we're staying, but I'm so excited." So we get there that night. We're in this 5 or 6 bedroom Airbnb up on the hill of Del Mar called the Tree House that I would never live in this house full time, but it was so cool to stay in. And we get in there, we're hanging out. After we go to dinner, he gets his practice round, media, all that other stuff done. And the guy's just sitting there playing gin with one of his buddies. Like, not drinking, not doing anything, just hanging out. "Hey, thanks for coming, buddy. What's going on? How's the course playing?" "Well, as you know, the U.S. Open, the rough is thick." And that's our avoidance all week. I said, "Okay, perfect." So the next day, he was set to go off at 2:20, but with the marine later, he got postponed till 3:50. So they knew that they weren't going to finish. So wake up the next morning, we're going through, "Hey, Dad, how you feeling?" He goes, "Feeling great, feeling like $1 million, everything's good." And he's sitting there playing gin with his buddies. Because, what do you do when you pass the time until you have a 3:50 tee time? You play gin with your buddies for $100 a hand. It was great. We just sat there and watched them play gin. So they go out there, they play their round. Obviously, the first round did not quite go to par. I think he ended up shooting 4 over, but he only had 4 holes left to finish. And the greens in the afternoon at Torrey were bumpy. They were rolling about a 12 to 13 because the sun came out and it caked it out a little bit. And we're riding home with him, and he gets in the car, hands us a beer from the hospitality tent, and he just goes, "That was really hard. That was just a really hard day." And then we get back, his agent Rob Muji's the greatest guy. He goes to his taco truck and he grabs 50 street tacos of all different types. Steak, chicken, barbacoa.
That's not good for your body after the eating at Dismal River, by the way.
No, absolutely not. But as the Honorable JB said, "Hey man, I'm gonna have another steak," because when you're in the Midwest, you have steak. When you're on the West Coast, you have fish and you have street tacos.
I agree.
So they literally got us 50 street tacos, and we're sitting there and we're kind of laughing, we're doing stuff, and it gets quiet, and Wyndham goes, "That was a hard golf course today." He just straight up said again, he goes, "That was a hard golf course today." And I mean, what else is there to say?
I think it's one of those things, if you're just slightly off, right? It doesn't take much, and you're on the bogey train, right? It just doesn't. That's a pretty big boy golf course to begin with, and then put the old U.S. Open setup on it. Which, by the way, I think the USGA actually did a pretty damn good job of not having it be half stupid. right? Like it.
Well, yeah, but if you screw up a U.S. Open on the West Coast, how bad? I mean, how bad do you have to be? The weather's predictable. That's like when the U.S. Open goes to the Northeast or the South or the middle of the country or somewhere. You can have heat waves, you can have cold waves, you can have a plethora amount of rain, you can have thunderstorms. The grass will die out. It's just there's so much stuff that the wind will pick up astronomically in the afternoon. So there's so much that can go on where, you have the June gloom in San Diego. Okay, we're going to prepare for marine layers, 75 to 80 degree weather, very light wind. That's it.
Seeing that golf course, out there, like you're walking the course, you're out there in the rough. What's a legit zero handicap? A legit zero who can travel with the zero at a country club level. Guy's a banker, he's a good player, but he's a zero. What's he shoot?
83, 84.
And you'd be damn happy with that.
Yeah,
As
you'd be damn happy with that. I sent you guys the picture from the Dismal trip, or the guys from the Dismal trip, of my feet standing in the rough next to the driving range.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which was the rough throughout the course. You can barely see my shoes. That's what it was. But the thing about Torrey is the fairways are so narrow. If you miss the fairway 5 to 15 feet, you're in deep rough. If you miss 20 to 45 feet from the fairways left to right, you're in the trampled down area where everyone's walking.
It's actually
like if you're going to miss the fairway. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. So Wyndham, the first days he played with Matthew Southgate, who finished second in the European Open, which got him in, and he played with Matthias Schmidt, who just graduated from University of Louisville, who's an amateur, a German kid. And they were talking about how Matthias, since he was just a little bit shorter than Wyndham, how his misses were actually perfect because all of his distances off the tee were equal with the fairway bunkers. Right. So if he missed left or right, he was in a fairway bunker and he had a perfect lie. And he knew that.
Which you would take over the rough any day of the week.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless I think it was Bryson the last day hit it up. He shot 44 on the back nine. So instead of people yelling Brooksy when he's seen off, they should probably start calling him 44. But he was up in the lip of the bunker because he hit it so hard, and he had to lay up with a wedge. Same with Justin Thomas. So but like with my first time being out there on the property, it was a super easy golf. It's a huge piece of property, but it's a super easy golf course to walk, where you can let a guy go, like when we're on 11 green, 12 tee box, you can just let him go down there. You can watch people come in on 11, tee off on 12, come up on 13, tee off on 14. It's a really easy golf course to watch a golf tournament. It was awesome.
My other follow-up is when somebody gives somebody like you 9 medical tests, did they find anything interesting besides your COVID-free? Is there anything else that popped up?
Nothing that's nothing that's curable.
Okay.
Nothing that's curable. I may have contracted it on the Dismal trip, but we're not going to say anything about that.
Well, there's probably some interesting bacteria in the Dismal River out there that you have not been exposed to yet, and who knows what the consequences of that will be, say, a year later. But it's not like you're going to be quote unquote normal anyway, right? No. You met me at Dismal. There's no way. Well, there's no way. Well, so the U.S. Open, you got kind of, John Rahm gets over the hump per se. Everyone thought he was obviously one of the best players in the world without a major. As a professional golfer, former. Can we call you professional or former professional at this point?
Semi-pro. I'm like
I'm
like the Jackie Moon. Jackie Moon of professional golf.
As a semi-pro or once full-time professional golfer, watching what he does, what do you love about his golf game, and just kind of like how where's the ceiling for this kid?
My God, just a little bit of his backstory here. The guy was, he won the Big 12 individual championship when he was at Oklahoma State. He was 4-time All Big 12 first team. He was a graduate transfer to Oregon, plays 1 year, wins the Pac-12 in Colorado. And, no player, I don't think, in the history has ever done that.
John Rahm?
And, No. I was talking about Wyndham. I'm
No.
sorry. When you said kid, I forget that Rahm is a kid.
Yeah,
I mean, the
he's
guy
like
looks
to
like he's
my
40.
age. Well,
The
yeah,
guy looks like he's 40. The ceiling is the limit for Wyndham. The guy's an absolutely phenomenal player.
No
When
question.
you look at let's circle back here. When you look at Rahm, the guy's backswing is about as short as yours, and he hits it 310.
More. Or,
I mean,
marine layer.
or more.
Right.
Carries at 310. He's a great. There's no weak parts of John Rahm's game other than his temper, and sitting there with like we got to meet Drew Stoltz, the sleazy man, Jeff Fujimoto, who are both up at Whisper Rock, and get to hang with Rahm a little bit. And they said that he's always tired of people talking about his temper on the golf course, which when talking to you, have been highly critical of. He's a Spaniard. I mean, he's dramatic, right? But it seems like he's got it under control to a bit where he knows how to manage his emotions better. And that, I believe, is like what's always been holding him back. I mean, besides leading major tournaments in the numbers of shanks and third rounds, I mean, we all saw that shot at the Masters. The wheels would just kind of come off for 2 or 3 holes. But there is no limit to what John Rahm can do. The guy was, I watched him play at the Phoenix Open when he was at Arizona State, and he got top 15. I mean, the guy's a stud. He always has been. There's absolutely no limit as to what John can do. The only person that's going to hold John back is John.
I think he could be a Hall of Famer. I really do. I think his talent.
He's no doubt.
He's just that good. Doubt. You know the thing I like about what he's done, and we'll get to Wyndham in a second, see Brado, because I think he's going to win this year. I love Wyndham's golf swing. I like everything he is doing. But what I like about Rahm is, you ever notice he hasn't gotten like super trim, right? He's kept like almost like, but I kind of like that for his body, right? Like that's his natural weight. He's thick, he's strong. He's not trying to look like he's running a marathon. Like I think that guy having a bit of a belly and some mass is that what that short little golf swing sort of needs, right? I think he'd get worse if he lost 30 pounds.
Yeah, the guy eats ceviche and prawns. I mean, he loves it. That's the Spanish way. Don't work out. And here's the thing. Chicks love dad bods. I mean, is it more comfortable to lay on 6-pack abs or a dad bod? It's way more comfortable to lay on a dad bod.
Why am I working out in the gym a crazy amount in my late 40s then? Why'd you tell me this now? What?
Exactly. You got to put the Bowflex away. You got to put the Bowflex away. But let's all admit, when John Rahm was with Adidas, they did a terrible job of dressing him because they tried to dress him in the same stuff that DJ would wear.
And that ain't going to work.
I mean, yeah, he looked like the pudgy kid in band class that was walking onto the basketball team. He looked terrible.
But don't you agree, like, he shouldn't lose the weight, right? Like, that's his, right, like, there's no point. He's strong as an ox. There's no point in him getting ripped. He's like Farm Boy strong. Let it be, right?
Let it be. The only person in the history of golf that I remember in my memory, everyone can fact check me on this, that has lost weight and gotten better is Rory McIlroy. Because he used to look like he was sniffing out an In-N-Out from Ireland when he was in juniors. I mean, the kid was a pudgy, curly-haired dude that had nothing really going for him.
Yeah, I mean, David Duvall was a nightmare losing weight.
Nightmare.
Carl Peterson.
John Daly.
John Daly, bad losing weight. I agree.
Carl Peterson. Boo Weekley.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Boo Weekley was another one.
Phil's done okay, though, losing some weight, but he's working out pretty hard.
Yeah, but Phil's Phil. I mean, Phil's a Hall of Famer no matter what. I mean, no matter what he does. Like losing that weight and stuff, I think he did it not to help him with his golf game. I think he did it more to help him as a lifestyle. Where I think guys try to lose weight.
Remember, Duffner lost his belly and was terrible. He was bad.
Divorce amongst other things. But
right, but he needs the big he needs the bowling ball down there he needs to have one big ab as well, right? Like he did not play good skinny.
One big ab and a fat gagger. I mean, could you imagine Blaze Olson coming in looking like Mike Colgate? The guy would be a disaster.
The golf swing wouldn't work.
No, the fire and fall back pull fade would not work with Colgate's body on Blaze Olson.
Well, speaking, since we're transitioning from greatness to John Rahm to Blaze Olson, which is greatness on a different level, let's talk about the Nebraska trip. So the crew gets together. We got Danny Woodhead, Commander Riggins. Should we call him country superstar, Kenton Bryant? Something like that?
Country superstar, Ken Bryant. Yeah, you might as well. The guy owns Dismal River, Nebraska patio.
Yes, he does. He's very good. And the Honorable J.B. Mathers II, the whole crew, the great Mike Dominick, Violent J. Armour, everybody's there. But you guys start the trip out right with playing, in my opinion, even though I'm not a member there, I'm a member at the club next door. It's all a great area, but Sandhills. What is it like to play the Sandhills Golf Club, or golf course, I should say, GC, the experience and rubbing elbows with a two-time Masters champion who happened to design the golf course, being out there when you're there? How was, recap of that experience, and how good is the architecture on that golf course? Overall opinion of the, let's just call it the experience of Sandhills Golf Club, Mullen, Nebraska.
Well, first of all, shout out to our member, if he ever listens to it, our hosting member, Mark McWathy, who's also a member over at Black Sheep. I hope I'm okay using your name. You're not on the most wanted list somewhere or something. But him setting that up, blind in the dark, giving us a chance to go out there and play was absolutely first class. And everything about Sandhills was absolutely first class. I mean, you get a membership guest number for the day. So as a guest, you get a membership number, and you just charge everything to that account, as you know. And they bill once a month on the first. They send you the bill, you write the check back, and then you're done. And you are allowed once in your lifetime to be an unaccompanied guest at Sandhills. And JB and I, the Honorable JB Mathers III, and I get there at 10:30 at night. And you've seen JB. I mean, the guy's, he's vegan. He hasn't missed many meals. So we panic going through North Platte, because I have to get this off my chest. We panic going through North Platte, the pride of Danny Woodheadville, and we end up eating Arby's. And we went through probably $40 worth of Arby's on our way.
JB looks like he can eat some Arby's. Did you go like original? Did you just go beef and cheddar? Did you switch it up to a Reuben?
We went 2 for 3 beef. We went 2 for 3 beef and cheddar and the Greek gyro, because nothing screams worse than getting white foreign sauce at an Arby's that they call the tzatziki sauce, okay?
Well, I think the last time I checked, North Platte is known for its Greek food, so you should be absolutely fine.
Yeah, it totally is. Maybe that's what happened to Danny, and he got so fast, like the Greek track runners. Like, I have no idea. But anyway, we're eating it, driving in this 2-lane road in the middle of the dark, just crushing it. Jay was like, oh my God, it feels so much better, because we didn't know if the kitchen at Sandhills was going to be open when we arrived at 10:30. So we get there, we get greeted by 3, I'm not going to call them old, 3 very mature ladies who are all retired teachers from Mullen and North Platte. Could not have been nicer, showing us around the area. Just leave your car there. No one's going to steal it. Yada, yada, yada.
You're safe.
Everything's laid out for us. It's great. So we go down. She's showing us where we're going to have breakfast. And right next to us is the sign that just says Crenshaw. And I look at her and I pull my hand out and I go, is Ben here? And I didn't say it like that, but I was like, is Ben here? And she goes, absolutely. He's downstairs having dinner in the bar. And I turn and look at JB. I'm like, we need to go to the bar, obviously. Walk downstairs. He's sitting there with 7 guys from Austin. And I go, oh my God, it's Ben Crenshaw. Holy crap. So JB goes to the bar to order, and these ladies could not be more accommodating. They're making his drinks. Ben gets up, gentle Ben gets up, goes outside, smoke a heater. And I looked at JB. I said, I'll be right back, because if the last thing I do, if Ben grabs and throws me over the balcony and I drown in the river, I can at least say I went out by meeting Ben Crenshaw. So I go out there.
Well, his name's Mr. Gentle Crenshaw. Ben for a nickname, so he's probably not going to seriously attack you. It would be my guess. I mean, you can't be slightly annoying, so, I mean, it's plausible, but unlikely.
We call him Violent J. Armour, and he gave me the most hugs I've ever received in a 48-hour period.
Well, that's like calling the hefty guy skinny. It's like he's nonviolent. Yeah. Right. It's
okay.
All
right.
And a shout out to the ICP in a funny way, right?
Totally.
Exactly.
Totally.
Anyway, so Mr. Crenshaw, let's call him that.
Yeah, so right. I got to talk. So I talked to Ben for 10 minutes. It was a great 10 minutes, shook my hand, all the things. Could not have been a nicer guy. Go back inside. JB's having an old fashioned. So we're sitting there drinking, bourbon old fashions. So we're sitting there drinking, and we're just listening as flies on the wall to these guys telling a story about Ben. And I don't know if it's appropriate to our listeners if I tell one of the stories, but it was one of the most epic stories I think that I've ever heard about his Masters jacket. And, I'm just going to go ahead and tell it anyway. I'm going to keep it very PG.
Is this inside information from the Sandhills that should not be released to the public, or is this one safe?
No, this one's totally safe because we were sitting next to him and all that other stuff. And these are just guys from Austin that he had out in order to just in order to play the golf course and see what it is. I don't know if they were investors or family friends or anything like that. But a lot of these guys were telling stories about Gentle Ben. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm not going to tell it because that's something I think I'll take to the grave.
Okay.
Because it was one of those stories where you couldn't stop laughing. You just couldn't, because he confirmed the story, right, when the guy told it, about his about involving activities that he's done in his Masters jacket.
Well, we tell stories about you, though, too, when you're not around, though, but we won't tell those either. But you're usually out of the room, and then JB will tell something. That's also true.
Okay. That's also true. But, it was a phenomenal story about, I'll give you a free face. It was a guy's wife that had a fantasy about wearing the Masters jacket. And Ben just says, you know what? I can't lend it to you. It's worn out. And I said,
I'll leave it at that.
I said, that's the PG details that we're just going to keep it at that. And Ben goes, I confirm that story, but it's worn out. He just goes, all right.
So
that was worth the price of admission.
So you get to play Sandhills, and it's Blaze Olson, the Honorable JB, country superstar, and yourself. Give me a rating of the golf course overall. Where do you put it? How great is the architecture? You've played a lot of them. What do you think?
The architecture for constructing a course in the absolute middle of nowhere in Sandhills, Nebraska was phenomenal. Does the course blow you away hole by hole visually? No. But playability and how he designed it, because there's no course rating. There's no course rating because you never know which way the wind's going to blow. So the fact that the guy goes down and designs a golf course that you can play with any different type of wind is awesome. You're standing on the 18th hole, and you play the 18th hole, right? And you think that it's nothing but bunkers down the left side, and then you realize you have a big gap over there where the windmill is. And we played it dead into the fan. We played it in the morning with the left or right wind, then we played it dead into the fan the last round. But imagine playing with a right to left, downwind. You can hit 5-wood or sand wedge into that green. No, it doesn't. And then 17, the par 3, it was 134 yards, and I blasted a 7-iron pin high twice. But the other thing is, if there's no wind, you're hitting pitching wedge.
Right.
And the way the way the whole course is designed is absolutely fantastic. It was just a phenomenal piece of artwork. Comparing that, because a month before we played Old Sandwich out in Plymouth, even though it rained 4 inches on us at Old Sandwich, it was still awesome. Just the way that they designed. But Sandhills, no, not Sandhills, Old Sandwich had Pine Valley-esque feels to it, where Sandhills had a little bit more like Shinnecock, just kind of like that open air, fescue, turf, old school deal.
Yeah, but it's you would agree it's a bucket list golf course, though.
100%. If you have a chance to go play Sandhills, don't fly into Denver, fly into North Platte, get a car, drive up there, stay the weekend, and play. And it's a small clubhouse. And the thing that we were screwed up, so we ate Arby's on our way there. We get there. Of course, they told us the kitchen was closed, but Gentle Ben and his crew got Midwestern Nebraska dry-aged 14-ounce ribeyes and mac and cheese. And as soon as I came out, JB looks at me and goes, "We effed up. Big time. Big time." And of course, like JB's like, "I might order one for the both of us just so I can say we did. We can pluck off of it." I'm like, "Yeah, no crap."
So you wake up and now you're driving 7 miles as the crow flies, but like 43 minutes over to Dismal River to where we're hanging out. And
great drive.
It is a really cool drive, actually. You know, got the 1-lane road to get the clubhouse where we got it. But I'll just say this, and I'm obviously biased. That's the best golf trip I've ever been on. That's the best group of guys, the most fun. And it started last year with Slaw and Woody and Riggins and that whole crew from out there. And we're just sort of adding to it a little bit. But is that not how fun was that group? And how good are those guys? As like we all did this one week, and like I feel like I'm like your buddy JB Mathers II, the Honorable. I love that guy within like 1 hour. Like I feel like one golf trip, I could call him right now and be like, "I'm coming out to Eureka for 3 days next week," and he'd be like, "You're staying at the house, no problem." Like that is such a good tight group. And like I don't know, like I feel so fortunate to be able to like do that once a year with all the guys, and like obviously you and JB are a part of it too. But is that not like the best group of guys ever to go play a weekend of golf with?
It was great. Everybody was like-minded individuals. There was no tension between anybody for golf, football, domination. JB and I obviously came in a little bit hot from drinking all day at Sandhill. No, we drank waters, but they were alcoholic waters. And, you know, I interrupted Slaw's story at dinner. I still feel really bad about that.
It's a great story, by the way. Because, like, how often do you have a broken back and a broken sternum in your last game of professional football and man that whole game out, right? That's a good story.
And I interrupted him to tell him the story about the one time I broke my toe at Q School. I mean, it's the same thing. It was the same thing. And he couldn't understand that, so I bowed down. But the nice thing is, we sit down at dinner, and the cool thing, like we pull up, JB breaks his phone, right? Which was the best thing to happen to him because he's such an Instagram girl. He was like, granted, I had to do more work because I had to take pictures for the rest of the trip for him and send them to him and all this other stuff. But the best thing that happened to JB was he broke his phone because then he could just focus on golf and be JB. And he comes in hot. Our Coors Lights get, taken from a different car that was, long gone at that point that he was even more upset about. But we pulled down, and I remembered that Violent J and the Gentle Scott Nieder gang are in cabin 15 because of the group. Hey, come to cabin 15, have a pregame, do whatever. So we're driving down. I see cabin 15. I slam on the brakes. I'm like, I'm going to go meet these guys. We're outliers. We've met 0 people here other than Blaze and Ken, who we met at Sand Hills today. So I knock on the door, and Jay answers it with his shirt off and a bucket hat on.
It's always a good look.
Drinking a White Claw, and Scott is just over there lounging in the chair like, what's going on, guys? How are you? No, there was no weird stuff going on in here. And I just thought, oh, my God, well, you're drinking White Claws. It's, whatever. So we gave him some crap about that, and guess what? They rolled out it. They gave us hugs. Everything was great. Go to dinner. First time I see you, I walk in the door. You look me in the eye and say, it's nice to finally meet you. And you gave me a big hug. Yeah. I mean,
it's what we do, man. Like that's that group out there, right? Like it's a cool thing we have out there. Like I so cherish that trip once a year. Like, and I don't want it to get much bigger. Like, Big Time Pound needs to be out there and grows it, but I don't think it'd work with 30 guys. Like, I think it's sort of baked into the cake. And
right,
and it's just it works, and it's a great area of the country to play golf and links golf. So now we meet everybody, we're having fun. Give me your synopsis of Nicholas's take of the Sandhills, and then Doak. We have 36 holes there. I love both sides, but I always like your opinion since you are a semi-professional golfer. Kind of give me your take on both sides and the interpretation that you saw from the architects out there.
I think JB is still in therapy from the white course, the
I
Nicholas
don't
course.
understand. He just needs to toughen out a little bit.
He
Hit it straight.
sucks. You have to understand that he sucks. He's hungover. He's trying to drink his way out of it.
Yeah, but
He has
he's
a
strong as
two-way
an
miss.
ox. It looks like he can hit it.
Yeah,
he hits it
but
300
he has
yards.
Yeah, when he hits it straight, but the trees in fescue are full of long hitters. Like, come on. But the thing is, like, we got spoiled at Sandhills the day before because even though they have fescue, the fescue is very thin, and you can find your ball. You go to Dismal River, the fescue is like you hit your ball in there, you're lucky if you find it. But if you want to go out and play a drinking game with your buddies and have everything a little more wide open, a little more player friendly, play the red course, which is the doe course. I think that's more of what that is and what his whole mindset was behind that. And the back nine of the doe course was probably one of the favorite nines I think I've ever played, going up against the hill like that in the valley.
Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah.
It was awesome. I mean, that par 3 where you made birdie on 16 with the 7 hybrid slice in the back right pin. It was great. Cuddy Sark. I mean, like, it doesn't get any better than that. The white course, though, in terms of, like, if you want to go play a championship golf course, you go play the white course because that thing is going to test your patience and your drinking ability and kick your teeth in a little bit. Because the thing that I love Jack Nicklaus. Like, we're great friends. We, for Jack Riggins, we talk all the time. But the thing I do not like about Nicklaus courses are the blind shots. There's
some blind shots on that golf course.
Right, and if you're playing it for the first time and you're JB Mathers, who's an 18 vanity handicap, you're going to lose some golf balls. And he was just not okay with that, and it's just something where he was making his voice heard more than his game heard, and he's got to get those emotions under control. But the white Nicklaus course, I think, is a better championship golf course than the red. If you're going to drink, go play with your buddies, want something a little easier, go play the doe course. But both courses are good. Both courses are good.
I play better on the white, and I don't understand why. I think it's harder.
Well, you're an athlete.
Oh yeah, I'm all that. That's for sure.
Well,
I don't know. I think it's like maybe get more focused or something. I don't know. I love the enormity and the size and the magnitude of the Nicklaus white. Right, like it's just got this. It's got this brawniness to it, right? Like it's just massive.
Well, you're a broad-shouldered guy, so that's
very athletic.
I think that's why very athletic. I think that's why you like it. # both legs.
Yes,
I like that. I actually have a question for you that I wrote down here 3 weeks ago. Of who you haven't met that came on the Dismal trip, who was your favorite person, MVP, in your eyes?
JB. I like seeing people have fun, like if I'm hosting it, and I think that guy had as much fun as a human being can have in like 3 days. I mean, I love you, but I mean,
JB's the man.
He was just right. Like it's just like I watched like pure joy. That dude had as much fun as humanly possible in 3 days, between starting early with Fireball and going all day and overeating and letting his body quote unquote go. Like that guy was level 10 out of 10. I laughed at his shit more than anybody. Like I had the best time just watching him. Right, just watching him. His arteries were clogging as he was talking at dinner, and he was just still mowing down the ribeye steak. Best dude ever. Like I love that guy for just spending 3 days with him. I love that dude.
Oh, people can ask, they're like, "How do you know JB?" I said, "Well, he's my high school golf coach." They go, "He's terrible." I go, "I know," but the best was we were driving around in these whatever cars because we were a private school. We didn't take buses; we took private cars, and JB taught us more about life than anything. The best advice JB ever gave me was, he goes, "Mike, you are going to have way more fun in life when you stop caring about what other people think about you." And I took that to absolute heart. Maybe too much to heart, but I took that to heart. And when he's coming out on the trip, I'm like, "Hey, can I bring a guest?" Yeah, I get a guest. JB, you want to go? He's like, "Boys golf trip?" I'm in. I mean, the guy is an honorary member at Bandon Dunes. That's how much he goes up there.
Yeah, the dude is just, he had as much fun than watching him and Violent J together in that cart. Those two were just made for each other that last day. Oh, God. Like
he got Jay back on track. That was cool.
It was, and then like the other cool part of that trip, it's like, and my buddies are probably like ad nauseum about this, but like I was telling guys like back at the home club here, like you watch somebody play music and they're like pretty good, right? You're like, oh yeah, that guy can play guitar and sing pretty good. And like at a local band or a local bar, even bands or a singer if it's an acoustic set of somebody, you think that guy's really good. And then there's Kenton Bryant good. And I would be saying this to Kenton if he was in front of me. But I don't know if you saw, and I'm guessing you did, that there is good and then there is greatness. And I would call what he can do with an acoustic guitar in front of 10 people, 12 people, 15 people in our group. It is so ridiculously talented. He is so ridiculously talented. To watch it up close, you're just blown away of how there's a reason he's toured the world and has albums and is professional. Don't you think how ridiculously, and he's a great guy, a fantastic human being, love him and his wife. They've stayed at our house. Our wives got along great. Like he's so talented, but yet so grounded. He's such a good dude, and his wife's just a sweetheart. But
his wife is awesome.
Yeah, to see that talent up close, though, isn't he just literally? It's off the chart, right? Of how
well, he's unbelievable. But this is another thing that JB sits there and he does so well. Like JB's been in radio all his life, and then he goes, "Hey Ken, I thought you were going to play us some, because we decided that we weren't going to do the concert on Friday night." Because it got too late and the dinner took too long. Well, whatever. So JB goes, hey Ken, how about a little music? I mean, I came here to watch the concert, stuff like that. And he goes, you guys want some music? And he goes and grabs his guitar and just rips off 5 acoustic songs where I'm pretty sure I was crying on your shoulder. But I said that I had not heard him perform live before, and I was just taken aback. Like I had to get a couple videos of it and watch it. I mean, I sent that to all of my friends. I put on Instagram. I'm like, dude, have you heard of this guy? I mean, this is unreal. And he's a good golfer. Woody was pissed. He was the best 6 handicap that Ken's ever seen. Or Woody's ever seen. I mean, yeah. He's like, dude, this guy's killing us right now. I'm like, yeah, I know. And we got Jack Riggins talking shit out there. That's not great. This isn't great for us, Woody. We got to step our game up.
No, he can. He's a good player and he's working at me. He loves to play golf. But man, there's you watch that talent and you're just like, wow. I'm just like blown away by it, like how good he truly is. And I'm not just saying that because he's like friend, but like you can see it, right? Like he's that talented.
Well, it's the same thing. Like if you go back to I would compare him to a guy like Wyndham. I mean, he's super talented. He's gonna crack the code at some point. Like we think that Wyndham's gonna have a win by the end of the year. I mean, the guy is just that good at golf. And then you see a guy like Kenny. He's that good at country music. I guarantee you, though, Wyndham's not a 6 handicap guitar player.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, he's a good player. I mean, he's long, he hits it good. It was fun to hang out with him. He had a blast, and then and then you got the original Nebraska crew. You got Big Matt Slauson, athlete. He struggled day one, but we kind of got him going a little bit, right? He was getting the club a little bit stuck, so he kind of found himself. Once again, the best dude ever. Woodhead, who's playing some phenomenal golf. How about Woody tuning up in our matches, then going out and finishing T4 in the Nebraska.
I'm gonna go full JJ Colleen here and say #credit to me on that because we went off as a threesome that first day, the second day on the white course, right? I mean, remember, I showed up. I had just been singing of the Porcelain God. I was a little bit hungover, maybe drunk from the night before, trying to keep up with Matt Slauson, which I will never do again. And I got lassoed. So I had a knee
by the
injury,
way, you getting lassoed might be my favorite clip of the whole trip. That you didn't think he could actually lasso you till you started running. Rather slow, by the way, for a professional athlete or semi-pro athlete.
Okay. I am going to 100% defend myself on this because
you look slow as shit.
Listened. Dude, Jesus, I was running vertical. Did you ever watch Remember the Titans when the guy gets clipped and then he's running down the dude who's the running back who's running straight up and down? I was literally thinking I don't want to outrun this guy. Now, granted, am I the fast guy alive? No, I'm not. But I'm like, okay, I don't want to outrun this guy. I do want to give him a chance to freaking hook me, in case. Because
Did you think you were going to get hooked though? because he got
No. Well, I
You know,
didn't
he does-
know. I didn't know if it went over my head. I didn't know if it came underneath. I didn't know where it came from. All I remember is lying face down in the dirt laughing so hard because it just came out of nowhere, like those poor cows that he
Well, he's a
lassoed.
real cowboy. Like, he has a farm. This is what he does now. Like, he's roping shit. Like, that's what he does.
I would
He's
say
like a
more
real
that-
life. He's like a real life Rip, but he doesn't like kill people. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, no, he only wanted to kill me. But the thing is, like, I wouldn't really call him a cowboy. Like, that was more Brokeback Mountain. I think he's more of a rancher.
There you go.
You know,
There's
because
a bit. There you go.
You know,
I think that's a way better analogy. He's a rancher. But
He's a rancher.
Yeah, he can like throw the rope, and he got you. He hooked you. That was a great video, by the way.
He hooked me. It was just awesome. And like, my boss calls me when I get back. He goes, "Did you just get lassoed in Nebraska?" And I go, "Yes." He goes, "I just sent that to all my buddies." He goes, "That would be
By a 320-pound man.
So, yeah. So he sends out a company email. He goes, "Did you guys see your colleague get lassoed in Nebraska?" Thanks, Brett. Oh, that's great. Awesome.
Yeah, and then Commander Riggins, right? Like former Navy SEAL. How great was that when he made
Great
everyone do
guy.
the Pledge of Allegiance?
That was great. Well, as JB stated, because this is the guy that JB is, Real Housewives of Nebraska showed up and wanted Kenton to play 90s hip hop.
Wasn't going to happen.
Like, no, absolutely not. The guy's a country singer. By the way, his cover of George Strait, phenomenal. So
that was
then,
good.
and this lady's trying to get everyone involved in the game room and do whatever. I'm like, hey, we're not about that. Like, we love you. We're here to spread the word, but we're with our crew because we love hanging with each other, and that's the way it is. And Reagan's got everyone do the Pledge of Allegiance. That was great. We had to take Jay's arm and hold it up so he was actually doing a salute or putting his hand over her heart because I'm not sure he was capable to get up there by himself at that point.
I don't know if he knew he was in America at that point, but we made it work for him. We honored Riggins with that one.
Jay was on the moon, and we know the scariest moment for me at Dismal was when we're going on the red course from 10 green. We tee off on 11, and you drive across the bridge.
Yes.
And
narrow bridge.
Jay just says, tuck your legs and arms in, and he never let off the gas and drove through. That may have been the scariest part because I know he's had at least 6 high noons because I had at least 6 high noons. And the next day I'm riding with Kenton, and Kenton probably drove that going 4 miles an hour. Then I realized how fast we were going through that bridge.
Did you take anything from the great Blois Olson's golf swing of aiming 45 degrees right, and then you sort of fade it back to the left 90 degrees the other way, and then kind of hit it down the middle most times? It's aim right, body stops, fling over to the left, little flip, and it's a pull fade every single time, basically. Pull fade. Pull fade. Mad
respect to Blois. When I first met him at Sand Hills, I thought he was a bit of a serial killer because he didn't say very much to me. But, and he didn't have his patented glasses on, so I didn't quite recognize him at first. But Blaze, 1033, the Blaze in Minneapolis, as JB said, hard rock. Ben Hogan always aimed 13 degrees right of his target. And then he swung left of his target in order to basically square up the footpath and the club path to make the ball go as straight as possible.
Please tell me you're not comparing Blois Olson to Ben Hogan.
I'm not.
Mr. Hogan would roll in his grave right now about 9 times over if that's what you're going with.
I am not, but the thing is, Blois has tendencies in his swing that are really good that a lot of us wouldn't really think are that great. However, I hope Blaze is listening to this when it comes out, popping a real expensive bottle of Cab on the back deck at Minneapolis Country Club in his patented blue and orange outfit, which I didn't know that was actually a patented thing.
And I picture him like maybe at nighttime wearing like blue and orange sort of like velvet pajamas monogrammed.
Probably velvet pajamas. I think a zip-up hoodie with the pajamas. monogram maybe, or they could be yellow or blue and orange, like assless chaps or something. Like,
Oh, God of hell! Oh, there's an image. All right, moving on to Cincinnati. Thanks for that. So there's a little Hogan in Blois. So there's a little bit of genius in there. A little bit of genius.
There's a little bit of genius. Blois would be a great. I don't know exactly what his official USGA handicap is, but
19.
Blois would be a. Okay.
19.
JB, get on the phone with Blaze right now. Call him because you're a Vanity 18. Get him out for the member guest in Eureka, California, and have that guy play because he keeps it in play, keeps it in front. He's a Gruden grinder. No one's going to expect much from the guy, but he comes out and he performs. I really like Blaze Olson. I mean, the dude is he's a class act. And him coming up with a story about how he played football quarterback in 8th grade and Slauson, taking snaps from Slauson, I mean, that may have been like next level greatness right there.
Well, how about, speaking of, well, I don't know if it's greatness or stupidity, how about Violent J doing the Oklahoma drill with Slauson?
Shout out.
I've seen fear in a man.
Jay.
Right. When he picked him up on the run block, I saw Jay's eyes, and Jay had a look of terror like he was about to get launched into orbit. And then Slaw let up after he lifted. Jay's probably 190 pounds. Matt lifted him up 2 feet off the ground and was running with him like he weighed 13 pounds. It was like picking up a 2-year-old. Jay had some terror going there.
He did. And we'll get back to Oklahoma drill in 1 second. But Blaze taking the snaps from Slauson, and he drops the phone and then jumps on it like he fumbled the snap. So Slaw goes over, and from the Real Housewives of Nebraska, takes an empty Michelob Ultra bottle and drains it out. He's like, hey, we're going to use this. And by the way, and JB's like, I want to see a completed pass to Jack Riggins. There's windows behind Jack. And Jack's sitting down. And he hasn't caught a freaking football pass since 2006. Like, okay, so we're not going to use the phone. We're going to use a beer bottle. And the guy snapped it through a strike. Riggins caught it, turned back the clocks. Awesome. All of a sudden, Jay's doing athlete, #athlete. All of a sudden, Jay's doing the Oklahoma drill against Slaw, gets almost pushed into the weeds down the cliff, and luckily Slaw held up.
Yeah.
Next one, we had a false start by Slaw. I'm just going to say that. Like, I think JB stuttered a little bit, may have been the maker's mark. I don't know, but he stuttered a little bit. Then we go to the third one, and Jay kind of stood up Slaw a little bit to the point where, like, there were 6 degrees of separation. Then Slaw went for the roll. Jay used his pristine athletic ability and got around him, and it was going to result in a sack, or if Mark Sanchez is QBing, the butt fumble. I thought Jay did a great job there.
I think he had to use his quickness, because if he's going mano power game, he's got nothing. He saw that with the fear in his eyes. He got lifted off the ground and almost thrown off the premise of or property of Dismal River. But he's smart. He adapted. Slaw goes low. Jay scoots it, right? Got to the quarterback.
Totally.
So, I mean, all credit to Jay at some level for adapting quickly against a former NFL great. I mean, we got him once. And I think he hit him in the mouth on accident too, and caught a little got a bleeder on Slaw.
Yeah, I mean, Slaw was down. He was having flashbacks to blocking for Woody in San Diego. That's probably not good.
Well, but the trip was really good. Like, I mean, you're in next. I mean, you guys have to come back next year, right? Like, this is going to be penciled in the calendar every year.
It's in our blood now. 2 shout-outs I do want to give, guys that we didn't get to talk about very much. Mike Colgate, toothpaste, Nebraska golf legend.
Silent killer. He was staring. Doesn't say anything.
No, he doesn't say anything until he does. He's great. I mean, the kid bombs. He's 145 pounds soaking wet. But he's sitting across from me at dinner, and I'm just kind of staring at him, and I didn't know if he was going to, throw his drink at me and sort of bar fight or just be like Gentle Ben. I had no idea. But we went out the next day, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to look and see what this kid's got. And then after the first few holes, I go, This kid's got a pretty good golf game.
He does.
I mean, he's got a good golf game. He doesn't say much, but you know what? Talking is not for everybody. And
he when he was on our team, he just kind of like Riggins gives him sort of like the look like it's time to go. We need some birdies, and then it's just like silent assassin. He's good.
Yeah.
I can't beat Mike Colgate. Can I say that? I can't beat Mike Colgate. Too good.
No, well,
way too good.
Gross or net?
Both.
What is your handicap, by the way?
I don't even have one.
3?
Anymore.
4?
Yeah, I played to a 4, but I don't think they're going to let me play to a 4 next year because I went like.
Well, after watching your game, you're probably a Dismal River scratch. Just saying.
But I've played no competitive rounds this year. That's literally the first competitive round I played. I have no idea what I'm going to shoot. I don't practice.
You were MVP of every round according to Jiggins. I know Riggins was like sucking up to you, but at the same time, after every round, I'm like, God, I felt like you played pretty good there. Oh, Jason's Highlands team beat you by 17. Huh.
I went 74-71, so it was respectable from the member
ridiculous.
tees. I can't play from Mikey Colgate tees though, or Mikey Toothpaste.
Yeah, but you played the back tees with us when you came out for that last 9 when the sunset was going down. You were absolutely killing it. You were at least even par.
It can go fast. I got nothing.
I know.
I got nothing. Well,
you got something. It might not be nothing. The last shout out you and I want to give Scott Niedergang. Scott, I love Violent J. I love the boys. I love everyone that we met. My MVP that I've never met before, Scott Niedergang. That guy was so solid. He was just a dude's dude.
Well, he's a dude's dude, and I'll tell you what. Don't bet. He was on Thank God Our Team in one of the matches. We clobbered him. Like, if I messed up, he had my back. That dude was solid, hits the power fade, made like 3 birdies in the first like 9-10 holes. The match was over quick. Like, Scotty can play. And like he's a good partner. And then if he's on the other side of you, though, he wants to kill you, which I love. Like he's talking shit. Right?
He's got
like
that
he's
killer. He's got that killer instinct. Well, him and
Agreed.
JB got to ride in the cart at the entire first day together, and every time they pulled up, they were drinking the bottle of Fireball. And Scott was just like, hey, he's 6'5", went to U of A, he knows how to drink, but the guy slaps out there 250, keeps it in play. I mean, he's a total gamer, and from what I heard. But the guy, I mean, he'll talk to you about anything. Switch gears and everything. He's just a solid dude. I really like Scott Niedergang.
It's a good group, man. It's I can't wait to do it again next year. I can't it's the best golf trip of the year. It's my favorite golf trip of all time. And the group even got better. Even having you out there, which was questionable, and Riggins almost vetoed you out. It still worked even with you out there, and that's what I'm grateful for. Right?
That's okay. I'm okay with him. I'm okay with being a little bit of like we said. We're here to shake things up.
Right, and you did, and it was shaking it up to the positive. People were concerned. I was a little concerned. But you know what? I think you were like the cherry on top to like a really good Sunday for the golf group.
Now I know you're lying through your teeth. You're lying through your teeth.
It was fun. I can't wait for it for next year. But there is 2 spots open though for 2 guys that were in theory invited. And I hope they listen to this. Petey and JJ Colleen. Wouldn't they be perfect for this? They like to gamble.
They would be.
They both
JJ,
played right? Like those guys would fit in with this perfectly.
I mean, here's the thing. We even crashed a car in their honor.
Yeah.
Like we took a hubcap off a car where
that was the funniest. I thought Kenton had the look of like when Riggins Housel rocketed it. That Kenton, it was coming right at him, so he doesn't know how to move right or left. And then it hits the hubcap, and then like in slow motion, the hubcap sort of implodes and then falls down. Right?
Yeah.
And it just Kenton's like, oh my God, what happened? Riggins got this look.
It was right on cue because everyone's saying, hey, we're playing as an 11-some going in, getting dark, which was the best 2 to 3 holes of the trip, is having all the carts in the same fairway. No one out there but ourselves. And Riggins has been saying, don't get in front of me, don't get in front of me, don't get in front of me. Ken parks the cart in front of him. He freaking stone cold hosel toss it over to the right, takes off.
We could have killed the country star. We could have killed the country.
He's put on a concert that night.
Right. Yeah, he's got to tour the world. Like, we could have taken out a tooth or something. Would have been bad.
That would have been terrible, Like, you had that, and then poor Violent J. I mean, driving up the middle of a 300-foot wide dirt road, catches a root, and this was a Top Gun-esque moment because he ejected safely like Maverick did, but he was literally saying to Scott, "Goose, watch the canopy," and poor Scott got thrown into the windshield. I mean, guy's lucky to be alive.
Golf can be very dangerous. It can be a dangerous game, and sometimes you're just fortunate, and those guys were fortunate. It had nothing to do with the 12 or 15 cocktails they had going down the road that two semis could go down to quote unquote catch a rut going right, but it's just unfortunate, I guess would be the right terminology, right? No user error there whatsoever on Violent J's part or Scott's.
There was no user error whatsoever. The look on Jay's face coming in was like, "Oh my God, Jason's gonna fire me." I don't really know what's going to happen. The poor guy after 2 days was definitely the drinking MVP. Even though JB at dinner the second night was getting unruly loud and I had to tell him to calm himself because there were high school kids at the table next door.
I think JB can put down a few more than Jay though.
They're different guys.
Yeah, well, he's got weighs him like people don't like. JB is built like a brick shit house, like shoulders. He's like a big dude. So if they're going like 1-to-1, like Jay's not going to be able to keep up with JB. He's a former college football player. He's a big boy, and I think Jay trying to keep up with JB was a bad idea.
Well, that was the second day though. The first day he was with me, and he was intimidated because he was playing with Nebraska legend Danny Woodhead, and he was just like, I think he birdied the first hole, then he had like 3 straight bogeys and a lost ball bet, and he was distraught. So I said, well, look at this. The guys may have taken our Coors Light the night before, but they didn't take the Fireball. And so he started hitting the ball. And by the way, I do have my check here. I'm just going to read off our bar tab real quick. Between Violent J Armour and I, the first day, it goes high noon, high noon, high noon, high noon, high noon, high noon, Miller Lite, high noon, 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 Coors Light, Busch Light, high noon, high noon, high noon, high noon. So that may have had a little bit to do with why he couldn't find his ball the last 6 holes of the second 18.
You think? But it was a good time had by all. No permanent injuries between roping, crashing a golf cart, Oklahoma drills, or a flying beer bottle. I don't think anyone's feelings were hurt too bad, and no one got arrested. And I think we had a hell of a lot of fun. So I think overall, let's call this trip. I'm going to call this trip an A+. And you got to play.
You know what? A+. And we got to play Sandhills. And guess what? We got the invite back to go to Sandhills whenever we want to, and we can coordinate it. As long as our host member is there. And that was something that was first class on their part. We didn't embarrass ourselves too much. But I will say this, as much as the Sandhills is obviously amazing, but Dismal River in terms of the hang and the people there and stuff like that, I mean, Dismal River is awesome. And we appreciate you inviting us to come out and play. And as we said, I hope Boys is drinking an expensive bottle of Cabernet listening to this. And
there's no other way he's going to roll. He's not going to drink a bottle of Rio Niti with his matching blue and orange Alphadon with his copy of, what's he reading, War and Peace, probably in a fine leather chair.
Yeah, War and Peace or Vanity Fair. Probably Vanity Fair. Or Sun Tzu's Art of War, probably.
There you go. That would be very much something up his alley. Well, as always, thank you for your insights. I think we need to do maybe a British Open, or I should call that the Open Championship recap. I think you could, Wyndham will be in the championship. You'll get some inside information there. You analyze quite well of what the pros are going through. I think that should be on the list.
I think it should. Again, shout out to Wyndham for hosting us. I mean, he was a great host at the U.S. Open. Everything was top notch. We had a great time. Talking to his coach, Boyd Summerhays, on the insights of the players and the course. Boyd was an awesome dude to hang out with, and the whole crew, right? Like we had a great time. We supported local restaurants that had just been opened. We can't say enough about everybody that was out there for having us, especially with you being the hostess of the Moses at Dismal River. That was top-notch, first class. I wish the people that were sleeping next door to me would have kept it down at night, but Woody and Slauson, they tend to not go to sleep so quick. So hopefully for next year.
Whatever happens in Nebraska stays in Nebraska. Just leave it at that.
That's very true. That's very
all right,
true.
Semi-Pro. I appreciate it. Until next time, stay well and try to break 75 if you can.
Until next time, I love your sweater vest game.